Back at the Bus Podcast, coming to you with another comic book review. We picked up Wakanda #3. This is the Killmonger edition. This iteration is a little bit of a retconning of the history of Killmonger. I didn't get too deep into the notes on this one in terms of a review, but it was just an interesting take. It's kind of what I got from it. It was an interesting take on Killmonger and a way to utilize Ulysses Claw and kind of his personality or his archetype to mature Killmonger into what he ended up being, right? The maturation process, how that led to him to be kind of more like Claw. It starts off with like a band of assassins being trained by Claw, right? And it gives off this family feel very early, but then you realize very quickly that it's bred on competition. It's bred on bloodlust. It's an endless climb over the bodies that you're supposed to be dependent on to keep you safe and keep you alive, right? It's kind of a very antithetical approach to that of Marines or, any type of soldier, any type of military personnel. So there's some sacred fruit at the top of a mountain in Wakanda that these guys are scaling right now that I guess they just gotta have. And they run into a storm while they're up there at 12,000 feet. I ain't never seen nobody camp out on the side of a mountain. I don't know if this is a regular occurrence. I don't know if people do this in real life, but this seems a little extreme. Maybe we should just come back another day. Did nobody check the forecast?
Marcus, I can tell you that while I haven't done it, because I'm afraid of heights, doesn't mean I can't navigate with heights. I'm afraid of heights. I'm like a Green Lantern. Overcome my fear. They do camp. People do this stuff.
They camp on the sides of mountains, like free hanging on a mountain. I can't.
They because you're not doing it.
I'm like, hey, yo, I can't.
The most they can get you to do, and you do it, is do this on the side of your house where you like 3 feet off the ground. So when you roll over, you just rolling 3 feet off the ground. That's 36 inches, but you're gonna be all right. Yeah. No, it's they people that actually do this, professional mountain climbers, no, they do this. I don't know how, but they do this. They're like, I'm gonna put a whole tent on the side of the mountain. You better than me.
I'm a scale 1,000-foot mountain. And just for shits and giggles, when I'm supposed to be calming down and relaxing from the exciting climb I just had today, I'm gonna sleep on the side of the mountain. You know how anxiety-driven your sleep gonna be that night? My goodness, adrenaline junkie is not me. I enjoy a little bit of excitement, but this is insane.
Look, we can play some basketball, get some adrenaline.
Yeah,
we can go run.
We can go run. You want to throw a football? You know what I'm saying?
As a matter of fact, I do. We can get some adrenaline pumping playing some dominoes or some spades. Like, I ain't saying, I'm just saying.
I mean, we could do that. We ain't gotta go climb a 12,000-foot mountain. Killmonger has something that I haven't really seen pop up much for him, movie or otherwise, or comic books. I have not seen him with a love interest, which it seems like he's had here in Zolani. And he confesses to her that Claw wants him to kill Amadou, his friend, companion, the one that he's really been talking with most of this time. Didn't know Killmonger had friends.
He really don't. They try now they trying to make him a sympathetic villain. You're trying to make it seem like, no, this who he was. Like, let's not act like that. Like, let me say this right now. I do not want to see Erik Killmonger come back anytime soon if he's gonna come back as a villain. That's been his story since the 70s.
Yeah.
He ain't got that ridiculous. I didn't see Loki be a good guy, be a bad guy, good guy. I didn't see the Joker be a bad guy. I do not want to see, because they act like T'Challa does not have any other adversaries besides Erik Killmonger. I do not want to see him again unless you bring him back in a fashion in which I've never seen him before. And no, I do not mean with an alien symbiote.
What if they bring him back leading a rogues gallery of T'Challa villains?
I would rather see M'Baku return from the dead. He's been a member of the Masters of Evil. Have him be a Masters of Evil, and stay because both M'Baku and N'Jadaka are dead. Say they're in Hades, and M'Baku wants to take over Wakanda. Well, we know that ain't been Erik's thing. Erik has wanted to use Wakanda to take over the world. But if we're going to do this redemption story for Erik, let it be where during his time frame in hell, Erik has realized the error of his ways, while M'Baku has not. And so if M'Baku is being reborn or whatever, T'Challa has no choice but to, because T'Challa really don't have any male friends. Let's go ahead and keep that 1,000. He ain't got no brother no more. Like, he ain't got that road
not
dog
anymore. He was cool with Steve Rogers until last week.
Right. Wait. He was cool with Achilles until we just wanted Achilles dead just to replace Achilles with Jai. That was the most irresponsible writing I've ever seen before. That ain't this book though. Well, we know low key that
he was cool with the descendant of M'Baku from another universe, but they sent him on back and they never talked about him and his empire ever again. So any potential other friend that y'all ever had, they dismissed it.
Listen, bring back N'Jadaka. Let N'Jadaka be his friend, his road dog. Had them like this, with don't nothing separate them two, and have it like that.
I just call a buddy comic.
Something. I mean, it could be where they rub off on each other. Watch this. Give me all of them together. They rocking with each other. Give me the Shuri, T'Challa, Okoye, Anika, Hunter, N'Jadaka, Tosin book, and they defended Wakanda.
What would you call that team?
I'm just gonna label the book Wakanda. I mean, it seems like we already got we got some issues here already started. You feel what I'm saying?
Not necessarily a team. That's just the characters in the book.
Yeah, that's the characters in the book. Like, I would want them characters and let's do something with them characters. Let's flesh them out. Like, Tosin has a whole story in regards to his tribe. That's a backstory. The vibranium, my bad, Gentle. I forgot Gentle. Throw Gentle in there too. Because he's using vibranium organically. Okay, well, let's tell this story then. Okay, Gentle, you got these vibranium bands on you. Why do you wear them now? Because since you came back from being resurrected, you don't need them vibranium bands on your body like that. Let's tell the story. Let's tell the story about how, because this would be interesting, because none of these fools get along. Let's tell the story about how T'Challa, N'Jadaka, and Hunter and Tosin all making it do what it do. Because none of them get along.
Yeah.
Could you imagine Tosin, Hunter, and Erik trying to figure out who is giving T'Challa the hardest time? Hunter is the oldest out of all of them, so he would be looking at Tosin like, you a young.
If that's the group, T'Challa gonna have to scrap every day. He's gonna have to fight every day.
I mean, might have to, but I'm here.
If it's really right, then he's gonna get beat up every day.
No, hell, no. We do. You know what? We don't speak his name no more.
Okay, my bad.
We don't.
He who shall not be named will have that man getting drug out, first thrown over the rope in the Royal Rumble.
I know we're this is a loosely affiliated Wakanda book. You and I talked about Ridley last year, and you told me how he didn't feel like he had explained himself to people in regards to his writing. The thing that bothers me about his writing and Nate Moore, the thing that bothers me about how they present black characters is it sets them up, and I don't like it because I believe you can do whatever you want to. But to me, it sets them up to be questioned about who they're married to, which to me has nothing to do with nothing, but it makes it where it's fair to be on the table, where someone can look who has a motive and agenda to disparage interracial relationships, interracial marriages. Somebody like Dr. Umar Johnson will look at Nate Moore and John Ridley and have them for breakfast, lunch, dinner, and that 12 o'clock meal.
No, and I believe that. I think it's more than just who you married to. For me, when I look at how John Ridley has presented, black women, black men, and specifically their relationships together in his media, in his art. When you think about the stuff that he's created, 12 Years a Slave, the Gorilla series about the Black Panthers out in the UK, where there were mysteriously no black women. And then now you got Lucius Fox in the Batman series. Now all of a sudden, a character who has been the most virtuous, benign character in Batman for like the longest time, right? Now all of a sudden he's an adulterer, and his son is a product of the affair. with a woman with a Asian woman, and it's just like the liberties that you take that stand out, the things that you change or the things that you adjust to put your mark on a story or on a title that you're working on. It does something to tell me what you think about that person in real life. So like we obviously know the comic book characters don't exist, but that personality, that archetype, that persona, it tells me what you think of those people. So when I look at the MCU, I see black women in a certain position, I see black men in a certain position, and that tells me a bit. If I know that you're over top of all of that, you're the overseer of that, that gives me a look into what you think about black women, black men, and their relationships together. Similarly with John Ridley, when you write a story about the Black Panthers, right, and their ascension in the United Kingdom, and you don't find it necessary for there to be a prominent black woman in there, and yet, you know, you got black men, and then you got this, I think it was a Native American woman who was the female lead of the series, and you don't see why that's problematic in the least. Like, if you do it, right, and you defend it, that's one thing, because you're a creator, that's the way you saw it, and you should be able to defend it as such if that's the way it happened. When there's an attitude towards it, when there's something deeper rooted as to why you got there, you get defensive. You balk at the idea that someone could criticize this sore spot of you that you don't even want to acknowledge. You balk at it, and instead of responding back with it with logic and what you deem to be fact, you come back with emotion. And so when somebody asks you why it wasn't no black women in your movie, or why you wrote 12 Years a Slave like that, or why T'Challa is looking like this, I could almost anticipate the response.
Like I said, if somebody like Dr. Umar Johnson wanted to question John Ridley, I couldn't really come to his defense, because it's like, you putting it out there for people to come at you like that.
The thing that sticks out to me about the whole dynamic in this book that Claw is putting on them, right, is that the group of characters are black.
Yes.
And so now it's not about Killmonger in an aberration in his lowliness and his black heart and his lack of empathy and a moral backbone. It's not the story of a villain. Now you talking low-key the story of a people. Because all of these individuals were coerced similarly to how Killmonger was. So if Killmonger's story is he was coerced by Claw to act a certain way, and now all of a sudden he's making notch on his body every time he takes a life, the same could be said about any of these 6 black individuals. You know what? I don't know if Amadou is black. I'm kind of assuming. You got some different. They are different here.
They're not assassins right now. They're all adolescents at this stage. This is a young Erik Killmonger, so we're talking teenagers.
Yeah.
I can ask this question: how Claw get in Wakanda to gain access to 8 teenagers?
And one. Well, no, I guess he's not Wakandan in this, right? That's the movie. So yeah, I don't know.
It's Wakanda. You don't even allow people in there like that. But he's got 8 Wakandan children. Where they parents at?
Y'all up there climbing mountains. Y'all up there. You didn't just get into Wakanda. You got in there with some kids and you climbing mountains. It really drives home the point about now they're really addressing. You're really talking about what you necessarily think about the people instead of the character. Because now you pan over to a flashback with Killmonger's love interest in this book, and they're of course getting the same speech, right? Who's gonna rise to the cream of the crop? But she knows. We know from the conversation that she has with Killmonger that it's all bull, and he's manipulating all of them, even though she's probably just saying it to disarm Erik at that point in time. But there's truth in it, and she knows it. Because they're telling each other the exact same things that Claw has said to them, and it's exactly the same. Oh, you the one. I always knew. It's you. You just got to take out the weaklings. You got to take out the weaklings. And what does she do in the face of that? She capitulates. Killmonger's not his name. So meaning, I'm going to do your bidding. I'm going to do it. Doesn't matter what type of familial tie, what type of relationship I have with this person, I'm going to do it. And towards the end of the book, after a few more people get killed along the way, they finally get down to where it's just Zolani and Killmonger, right?
Mm-hmm.
And what happens? Like, we could just piece it out right now and run off and never have to deal with Claw again. What do? What do? They choose to fight each other. Zolani headbutts Killmonger. Killmonger kills Zolani. Where they had an opportunity to break the wheel, they pushed it along. They kicked it on up the road. And that's, you know, it's funny because you don't usually see that type of linear. Well, I guess you do, depending on the creator. It's not as common in comic books as it is as film, where you see that type of linear rationalization of things, or if you see a certain culture or a certain people described in a certain way as if they monolithically think the same, as if there was no one in this group that could buck that manipulation and see it for what it was, even after the wool was pulled off of their eyes. Even after the facade was done away with, they still couldn't break away from it.
So what we're saying is that this character, Erik Killmonger, is irredeemable. He's rotten from irredeemable.
Is he irredeemable, or is he of an irredeemable line? Because if what this book is telling me is that the irredeemable character had other people who could have been right in his seat.
Watch this. He's the product of a writer, and because, you know, I try and tell people, you know, people that get mad at T'Challa, people that get mad. I even talked to Mr. Smith today in regards to Tosin. I like Tosin as a character. I'm not holding it against Tosin because of what John really did with him as a character. These characters aren't real. They have potential to be better than what they are if the right person writes them. So to your point in regards to Erik is who they're writing him to be. At some point in time, at one point he's just supposed to be the villain of T'Challa, the antithesis to T'Challa. What they've done now is, in trying to make him humane, you damn near making him inhumane. Because as you stated, to your point, is he irredeemable? Or is it the people that he come from are irredeemable? Because
I swear to God, this book is saying that the people he comes from are irredeemable.
It's a great question, because we're sitting up here looking. We got 6 to 8 adolescents. All of them have been told the same thing, and they all plan on doing the same thing to one another. Not one of them, as you said, is saying, you know what, I'm just going to buck the trend. Even when we have the male and female at the top, it's just them. Love each other. Love isn't even enough to buck the wheel. Either T'Challa is the Black Panther at this particular point in time, or T'Chaka is. Or Sion. Nobody said, because Claw is an invading force in Wakanda. Neither one of these kids, once they got to the top, because Claw didn't go up there with them. Once they got to the top, now one of these kids said, let me keep going. Let me go tell King Sion what's going on. So you raising some valid questions. It's like, he even comes all the way back down and gives Claw the fruit. Okay. Well, if this is your pre-story, I know how your story play after this. You mad. Now, based on this story, you shouldn't be mad at T'Challa at all. Yeah. All your friends did. You didn't kill your lady. That had nothing to do with T'Challa. Based after this story, what you finna do is based on your limited run from earlier in 2018. Now you finna go off to New York and get your education. You finna fall into some type of relationship with the Kingpin where you working with him. You're gonna meet another lady that you cool with, that you smashing and everything, but you're gonna turn around and kill her too. So that's 2 of your women that you didn't kill. 2. Not 1, 2. She the first. So you adept at killing females that you in love with, but low key every female you be in love with, then low key stabs you in the back. He ain't got nothing. That's why I said I don't want him coming back. Like, don't bring him back. The Joker is more popular than Killmonger is, and we don't see the Joker that much fighting Batman. That's just me. That's just me being honest. We don't see the Joker fighting Batman that much. I don't want to see him no more. There's nothing new that they can do with his character, as far as I'm concerned.
I guess there's
Don't break.
something to be said about him being the villain for T'Challa, but you gotta let him. You gotta let it breathe before people start longing for it again. You know what I mean? Even Magneto and Xavier took breaks from fighting. Even they took breaks from fighting each other, and they are each other's, I won't say mortal enemy, but they are each other's most powerful adversary.
Nahanda, the first. There's another female Black Panther before Shuri. There is. But Nahanda, the first female Black Panther. I love the fact that they put some respect on her name and everything like that, because for a few reasons. One, we see the doors were guarding the throne in this. She gave one of the doors a glamour charm and everything like that, so she could go out in the world. Her name was, if I'm not mistaken, Nahanda. She was known as the Renegade Black Panther, and she was actually married to Iron Fist, Gaia from Atlantis. So we had the Renegade Black Panther in a relationship with the outlaw Iron Fist.
I'm thinking about your note that you gave about the Dora, though. The Dora Milaje didn't appear until, who was that? Who introduced the Dora Milaje?
Christopher Priest introduced the Dora Milaje in Black Panther. I want to say probably Volume 2, issue 1.
I understand that it's not specifically tied to a character, but the fact that it came so late in the publication does kind of give the appearance that it was of T'Challa's making. Right? He purposely put these black women with spears and bald heads there to protect them because he knew they were the fiercest warriors in the country. I don't know. It's not that I'm not comfortable with the fact that they've always been that, but it's like now you just kind of making it seem more circumstantial than what it was meant to be, which was this black king entrusting his life and well-being to who he deems to be the most fearsome warriors in all of Wakanda, and that just happens to be this group of black women. That's a little bit more powerful to me than, they just always been there. He had to deal with it anyways, you know?
Well, let's say it like this. Now, even with, because watch this, we can feel that way, but watch this. There's always a silver lining. T'Challa is the first one to say they were no longer wives in waiting.
And that you can't take away. You can't take that away.
You can't take that away, because even when T'Challa was there, they were wives in waiting. T'Challa said, "No, that's not what we're doing." And that was when Nakia got in her feelings, because she thought that's what the lick read. She was like, "What you mean? What you know? What you mean y'all don't do that no more?" He said, "Yeah, since I took up the throne, because I'm over here smashing Monica, and I'm finna not let none of y'all mess that up. So y'all just guard the throne." What I like about it is that it also says is that the Doras don't just answer to a man, because I know a lot of people were trying, well, not a lot of people, too many people were trying to push that narrative. No. The Doras guard the throne, and there have been both men and women sitting on that throne for over 10,000 years. So we're not doing that. They guard the throne. And I like the fact that we are reiterating in this book that they guard the throne, because in the movie, they was all over the damn place. So I'm loving the fact that we are speaking on Wakanda history. I just need them to go back and revisit that whole story about how Sion lost to T'Challa. That fight ain't happening like that. I'm saying Sion threw that fight because he didn't want to be a Black Panther anyway. He knew who T'Challa was when he entered that ring. That's just me. Because I think that does more harm than good with people believing that a regular person can beat a Black Panther, especially the way John Ridley writing Captain America and T'Challa right now. So that's horrible. But it's a great read. I'm telling people to go get caught up on it and everything like that. If for no other reason, these Wakanda books, they do a great job in fleshing out the history of Wakanda, and you need that. You need that.
Well, that's that, man. Theo, thanks for coming on for
Yes,
sure,
sir.
rocking out with me on this one. Yeah, you want to do number 4, Mr. Ridley?
Man, I got him. I didn't read him.
I'm gonna have to pick it up if you got it already. I'll pick it up. I'll read it. I'll let you know if, if we're coming back to do it. We
You
shall
want talking
see.
about number 4? I ain't got number 4 yet.
Yeah. When it comes out, for Tosin, so we'll see.
Yeah, I
Check
get it.
in with us. No promises, because it just might be more dribble, but we will definitely be back with more comic book reviews. Make sure you like, share, subscribe. Tell us what you thought about the review in the comments below. Come back for more comics.